Good evening, I'm Michael Mason, your host on the very first Oneness Symbol video blog. The Oneness Symbol, that's what we're going to be talking about in this initial video blog. And the Oneness Symbol is called the infinite heart. Oneness is one, our next evolution. O.N.E. And here, folks, for the first time ever on YouTube, you are seeing the Oneness Symbol. This is the infinite heart Oneness Symbol. And there are many things to learn about this Oneness Symbol. The teachings about it is called PQM, Practical Quantum Metaphysics. I know that's a mouthful, but you'll see how simple it is as we go along. And it's quite interesting. The more people connect with this symbol, the more things they tell me about it that I never even noticed. Now, I have a doctorate in metaphysics. That's no big deal. It's a non-secular doctorate in metaphysics because there's no such thing as a secular doctorate in metaphysics from an accredited university. So, PQM. First thing I noticed is the P and the Q and the M are actually in this symbol. There's a stylized P right there. There's a stylized Q right there, and then you can see the M. So remember that, practical quantum metaphysics. Now, the most important part of that PQM is the P, the practical. All the stuff that I'm going to talk about this symbol, the most important thing is the practical aspects that can actually be utilized every day in your life, in every situation you come upon, to improve your life and to bring you towards enlightenment. And there's a very famous person that said, the only thing stopping people from enlightenment is they're already enlightened. So I make the claim right now, I'm enlightened. I'm so blissful and joyful and excited and grateful for everything in my life that led me up to this point. I'm 58 years old as of last month. Tonight it is 4:05 a.m. on Saturday morning, Friday night the 13th. It's actually the 14th now because it's 4:05 a.m. on Saturday morning. And I am crazy with excitement. You can see the craziness in my eyes and in my excitement. I couldn't sleep because I was so excited to share this with the whole world. I've been working, trying to figure out for the last several years how to get this symbol, this oneness symbol, out to the world. Now, what is a oneness symbol? What is oneness? We're all one. A lot of people have heard about this we're all one business. What does that mean? We're all connected. Well, quantum physics is actually proving a lot of the beliefs of oneness, that we're all connected. Quantum entanglement, for example. Look it up on Google. I'm not going to get into that right now. I will later when we talk about the quantum aspects of PQM. Okay, so let's start with aspects of the symbol. For example, it's called the infinite heart symbol. And what we have here is we have two hearts connected top to bottom, which represents the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. You've got the symmetry as the heart above and the heart below. And they're connected in such a way that they create a stylized infinity sign, therefore infinite heart. Now, you might say, well, that doesn't really look like a heart. A heart usually has a point on the bottom. What's that point all about? Have you ever actually looked at pictures of the human heart? Does it look anything like that human love heart that represents human love with a point on the bottom? Well, that's actually a representation of human love. Quite different from the infinite heart love heart, which represents unconditional love. A whole new heart. So you take away the point, there's no more point. The point represents, I'll love you if you're getting good grades, or if you're beautiful, or if you're handsome, or you never fight with me, or you agree with everything I say, or whatever the condition is. There's always a condition, which is a point, where that's the point at the heart, and that's what will cause me to love you. There's a condition. You take away the point and there's no more condition. So that's a heart that represents unconditional love. Then, when I went to Israel, something I never noticed before, I showed to my brother alone. He looked at this and he saw from above looking down on it, two people with their heads and their arms reaching out like this, holding hands. Connection. There's another aspect of the infinite heart. Now, the way we utilize this to transform our lives, and this is all about transformation. This is a key to transformation. It's a key to enlightenment. Is to perceive, and here's a Dr. Mason quote for you. Perfection is perception. Now, I haven't obviously rehearsed this. I'm just kind of winging it, as you can notice. So I make a few mistakes. Forgive me for that. But I'm just too excited to hold back and try to perfect it. So remember that perfection is perception. And when you perceive through the eyes of the infinite heart, notice there's like a big giant smiley face and there's two big eyes. Well, if you perceive through the infinite heart perception, now it's not a perception from the eyes, but it's a perception from the infinite heart perception, which actually, believe it or not, can and does perceive the all. It perceives infinity. Now, our physical senses are actually filters of the infinite. We perceive time as this linear experience from the past to the present to the future in a linear way. Well, imagine that in reality, from the infinite heart perception, all of time exists all at once. Obviously, it would just be too overwhelming if we perceived everything in the universe all at once, all visual frequencies of light and energy and so forth. So, that's going to be actually it. I think that's probably close to 10 minutes, so that's the very first introduction to the infinite heart symbol, the oneness symbol. Share this video, like it, spread the word. We're going to transform humanity from homo sapien to homo spiritus. And that couldn't happen in such a way before we had a symbol for oneness. Oneness. We've been talking about it. Metaphysicians going back thousands and thousands of years have said we're all one. And a lot of modern day writers and spiritual gurus and so forth are saying we're all one. Well, guess what? How can we actually think of all being one when we never had a universal symbol for it before? We have symbols for countries as flags. We have symbols for religions as the Star of David. It's actually the Shield of David, not the Star of David. That's a misnomer. And we've got the cross for Christianity. We've got the sickle and the star for Islam and so forth. As we've got logos for companies. Well, what about oneness? It's this like amorphous concept. Oneness, whoop-de-doo. It's like this woo-woo thing. Well, we're visual creatures, human beings. And until we had a visual symbol representing oneness that we can see visually and focus on to remind us that we're all one, it was never going to happen. Now we have it. Thank you. That's the end of the first video. And spread the word.